Welcome to Be Whole, Be Well, and Be Wise, the show that combines science-based and Bible-based education to direct you towards whole body wellness in Christ. I'm Shelly Tyler, and today we're going to talk about those parasites, symptoms, and cleanses that are necessary right here in our country today. So sit back as we give thought to the little things in life that could be making a huge impact in your health. Hey guys, so before we start today, let's chat about what we're going to cover. This is going to be a very intensive topic as I move through a lot of different protocols, different things that you can do to help yourself with the symptoms of parasitic activity. And I'm going to go over also some of my favorite cleanse products and how to use them safely from your home and how you need to do it and why you need to do it and all those things. So just let's clarify what I mean by parasite cleansing. Parasite cleansing is a process designed to rid your body of parasitic infections. These can be intestinal worms, protozoa, or other types of organisms that live or feed off the host, which is you or me in this instance. I know it's kind of hard to think about, and it kind of makes everybody's skin crawl thinking about that there could be something hosting or living off of you, and you're a host for it. But it's something that definitely needs your attention. We do it for our animals here on the farm, and I'm always concerned why in society we don't really necessarily do it for ourselves. Some of these creatures are microscopic and they live inside our cells, even fat cells and red blood cells. Others of them we can see, and we might see them in our stool, and they can invade spaces between cells like our brain and our gut and our liver and lungs and lymph and muscles and organ tissue and all of that. So many of us might think that that's just for people in developing countries or tropical regions. That's not really a problem here, but the truth is, it is a global issue, and it's becoming more and more of an issue as our bodies are really high in inflammation. Our bodies are really overwhelmed with toxic loads from our environment, and we actually aren't fighting off these parasites as well as we used to. And they're entering our body through a lot of different ways. So, contaminated food, water, even through our skin. And once they're inside, they can cause a range of health issues, from digestive issues to chronic fatigue, and even impact your mental health. And I'm seeing them show up in our guts on a comprehensive stool analysis test. And I must say, everyone probably has some sort of parasitic load. It may not always show up in the test, but they are impacting your health in some way. And if it's showing up on the test, you definitely have a load high enough for that to be detected. So like everything from a functional wellness perspective, I'm looking at the body as an interconnected system. Parasites disrupt your system as a whole, not just the gut, because they're causing inflammation, they're stealing nutrients, they're releasing toxins. And well, when I say releasing toxins, I just have to add this in because we have to think about it, even though we don't want to. Parasites are living organisms. And one thing I always tell my kids is everything poops, including parasites. They excrete their waste products in your blood. And this is an ammonia-based product, so it's going to lead to a whole range of symptoms and can contribute to allergies and chronic sinusitis and constipation and IBS and colitis and other chronic health issues. The source of a lot of these issues can be parasites causing a chronic inflammation cycle in the gut and then systemically within the body. So we have to address the parasite infection and possibly some things that it's hosting along with it, and our detox system to help restore balance to our body and improve our overall health and immune system and our ability to fight off these things. So we're going to dive into the science. Parasites can evade the immune system and create biofilms. Biofilms are these protective barriers, and they think about they're like encasing themselves in protection. And so when you have a parasite that's protected, a lot of times it's difficult to eliminate it. So that's one reason we have a hard time with our immune system trying to get rid of them, and they can evade that. They also love sugar. They love heavy metals. They love too much animal protein. They love all the unhealthy habits that get created because they thrive in it. So if we're thinking standard American living and standard American diet, parasites love it. They thrive in it. So when it comes to revamping your health, we have to think about some of this as a root cause that could be disrupting it, especially if you've tried a lot of things and maybe you are eating right and maybe you are doing the right things and you're not making any progress. Parasites, they can be there for a long time, and you could have past parasitic growth that was never really addressed. And like I said, they love heavy metals, they love mold, they're clinging on to those things and hosting those things in our body. So we really have to think, gosh, even though I'm doing all the right things, there could be some things I've been exposed to that could be impacting my health. And that's where this kind of targeted approach to cleansing becomes essential for you. And often, you'll see a lot of different cleanses that are recommended, but I look at these specific protocols because I know that they actually are proven to break down the biofilms and eradicate the parasites, so that we can unburden the body, so we can de-stress the body internally, and then you can heal other things. So first, you kind of have to identify your potential need for a parasite cleanse, and manifestation of a parasite infestation could look different from person to person. And this is huge for anyone struggling with chronic disease, including cancer, including Lyme. So you have to think about your immune systems in your body aren't functioning appropriately. And if you can figure out some of these root causes, you can heal because you were created to heal, and God created you with all the pieces in place for you to fight off this stuff. But most of the time, there's something in the way, and parasites could be that something. So here are some common signs and symptoms that may indicate your body could benefit from a parasite cleanse. If you have digestive issues, that's kind of a first thing that people might think about. Chronic diarrhea or chronic constipation. If there's any persistent changes in your bowel habits. If you have gas or bloating or unexplained abdominal discomfort, especially after meals. If you have IBS or symptoms of IBS, like cramping, abdominal pain, irregular bowel movements, that could be something. You could experience nutrient deficiencies like unexplained weight loss. Parasites can consume nutrients meant for the host, which leads to weight loss. Anemia. Some parasites feed on those red blood cells, and they cause iron deficiency and anemia. If you have skin problems like rashes and hives, and you have unexplained skin reactions, that could be a sign. If you have eczema or psoriasis, and any condition that resists standard treatments, that could be a sign. If you have chronic fatigue syndrome, persistent tiredness and doesn't improve with rest, general weakness, feeling lethargic with no real reason, having brain fog or difficulty concentrating or feeling mentally sluggish or confused, having mood swings, anxiety, depression, I even saw research that showed people with parasites have a really high incident of teeth grinding. Um, so, um, Other things like neurological symptoms, frequent infections, colds, flus, autoimmune conditions, sleep disturbances, um, allergies and sensitivities to foods or chemicals or environments, joint pain, muscle pain. Um, yeah, so I mean, there's just a lot of things that could be a symptom of parasitic activity in your life. Now, other lifestyle and environmental factors, like you just recently traveled to an area where parasites are common, or you had exposure to contaminated food or water, like undercooked meat or contaminated water, those are definitely things to think about. But parasites are like the Trojan horse of our body. They're bad in themselves, but they harbor things that can be very damaging to our cells, like the mold, the Lyme bacteria, the virus, and that starts to compound the symptoms and make getting to the root of the issue a little bit more tricky. So, common parasites that we see are tapeworm. There are a lot of different types. If you have eaten meat at any time, you probably have had some sort of tapeworm. The seeds in the lining of your stomach, and every time you eat, it eats. So, it eats your nutrition to keep itself alive. Um, there are lots of different kinds, but a lot of times from eating raw fish or undercooked meat is a source, and it can definitely impact your nutrition. There are brain worms and sinus worms in your cavities. Yuck, I don't even want to think about that, but it's so true. There are some common nematodes that would infect your gut and cause anemia, or intestinal roundworm that cause abdominal discomfort, or pinworms that infect the colon, and that's when you might have an anal itch. So don't ignore that symptom. Hookworms, they're going to infect the gut and cause anemia. And I feel like I'm just like scrunching up my face as I'm saying all these things because you just don't want to think about them being there. There's one called whipworm, and it causes painful, bloody diarrhea. Um, Liver flukes, they're tiny worms that impede liver function and can damage the bile ducts. So it deals with hormones, protein absorption, and the liver can't detox appropriately. So if you're struggling with detoxification, that could be a huge part of the issue. Um, some of them that you would need a microscope to see are those protozoan parasites that infect people, and there's some that are like a Lyme co-infection that can cause flu-like symptoms and anemia, one that can cause leaky gut and cause food sensitivities. There's one that can cause explosive bowel movements and diarrhea. There's one that can trigger stomach pain and loose stools, which may be bloody. There's one that can lead to skin sores. There's one that can lead to um, burning and itching of the reproductive organs. There's one that can lead to an enlarged spleen and liver, plus abnormal heart rhythms. And so as I was going through this and thinking, there's so many different symptoms that you could be experiencing, and we could be mistaking it for something else and it be this specific thing. We host them, your kids host them, and you could be getting them, like I said, from food, undercooked meat, seafood, are some, and water are some common things. But what about blood transfusions, other people? If hand washing isn't good and there's lots of surfaces and toilets and those sorts of things, from soil, like just walking around where animals have pooped or things like that, and your pets too. So just think about how your food has been handled as well. This is another reason to clean your food with vinegar or grapefruit seed extract diluted in water. because you want to limit that parasitic load as much as possible. We often think about chemicals in that state, but we forget about parasites. Um, Heavy metal toxicity could make you more susceptible to parasites as well. And it's kind of this negative feedback loop where you kind of get stuck because toxic levels of heavy metals weaken the immune system. And then you get parasites, which then accumulate heavy metals and you get stuck in this cycle. So, definitely a lot of things to think about there as far as where you could get them. And I know you would be so surprised at the number of people I've talked to lately where they have noted their kids have worms. And they're like, oh, and that's what's kind of prompted me to do this podcast today and to talk about this in more detail, to tell you what to do. Because there's a lot of things you can do to keep parasites at bay. And then if you do have them, you need to know what to do in that instance. So I also think this is the perfect time right before we go back to school for everybody to get in a good parasite cleanse. Um, so first, I want to just talk about some natural preventative things that you can do to keep parasites at bay. Um, this may not be completely preventative for a lot of people, but I think when you add these things in to your diet or your supplements, then you could be preventing them more than others. So garlic is huge. Garlic contains sulfur compounds like allicin, and they are very anti-parasitic and antimicrobial properties. So consuming raw garlic cloves or taking a garlic supplement or just allicin in general is something that you can do. There are lots of supplements that have some sort of combination of black walnut hulls and wormwood and artemisian, and those have been shown to be very effective against parasites. So some of them are in capsules or in tinctures and all of that. You can use clove. It contains a constituent that helps eliminate parasite eggs, which is helpful. You can use it as a powder. You can use it as an essential oil and dilute it. Pumpkin seeds, they have an anti-parasitic property and can paralyze parasites. So that means they don't move and go to other parts of the body. And then that can help expel them. So raw unsalted pumpkin seeds. Papaya seeds contain an enzyme that's effective against parasites. So you can crush and consume a tablespoon of raw papaya seeds. Oregano oil. It is a very potent anti-parasitic, antibacterial, antifungal. It should be used very, very, very diluted. It is very strong, and I don't recommend it for everyone, just so you know, but it is an option. It is possible for you to look these things up and kind of make your own parasite protocol and your own parasite cleanse. But what I have found is it's never super comprehensive, and you're always missing a piece of it in most cases. So that's why I'm going to go over my favorite protocol that I feel like is safe for people to do at home today so that you can engage in a parasite cleanse on your own and have some guidance there. Other things, before we get to that, I just want to touch on lifestyle things that you could be doing to prevent as well. So drink plenty of water. When you're hydrated, you get to flush out toxins. When you're dehydrated, you keep toxins. You don't go to the bathroom as much. Going to the bathroom is eliminating waste. So that is an easy one. Just drink a lot of water. Make sure you're incorporating a diet that is balanced and enrich fiber and fruits and vegetables to support your body's natural detox processes. Practice good hygiene, like washing your hands and cooking food thoroughly to prevent reinfection of other people and yourself. So those are just a few kind of lifestyle tips that I feel like we all know, but sometimes we just need reminders. And most of the time, we need a targeted approach and we need somebody to tell us what to do and answer the questions for us. So, what we have to do is we have to kill the parasites and then we bind them And binding means like we're pulling them from the biofilms. We're destroying the biofilms, pulling them from the biofilms, and then we're excreting them through our waste so that we are getting rid of them. If we don't kill and bind and appropriately get rid of them, so kill, bind, and excrete, you can recycle your toxins, which is worse. You can recycle the already yucky things inside your body. So that's where I don't feel like everybody truly gets that full protocol going, and you're kind of shooting in the dark and don't know how to titrate up and down a dose or and all of that. So one of the leading names in parasite cleansing with functional wellness community is CellCore Biosciences. Their products are designed using innovative formulas that support the body in detoxing and eliminating parasites. I'm not affiliated with them at all in any way. I just really like their stuff. So I want to break down how some of these products work because I think it's genius how they do it. I would recommend, if you haven't ever done a cleanse before, to start with their Para kit. So I've got one here to show you. If you're watching on YouTube, I just unpacked it, unboxed it. It comes in this great box, but we're going to walk through these supplements here. And hopefully by the end, you'll understand what you're supposed to do with them and how you're supposed to use them and all of that. But these supplements are just so powerful when they're used in the right order, doing the right things. So the first one that they have is Para One, and it is formulated with mimosa seed. It's a powerful ingredient that is known for its ability to support the body in removing unwanted organisms. So that's Para One. And then Para Two includes a blend of herbs that help disrupt the biofilms and support the body's natural detox process. So when we're looking at the back of this, it's like these, like we see the clove, we see the things that we know are so good for us. And then Para 3 is CellCore's most potent parasite cleansing product. So we've got thyme and sage and tansy and black walnut hull and holy basil and clove and more. But there are 7 herbs that are blended to support your immune cell activity, inflammatory balance, and your microbiome health by providing these phytochemicals to support the liver and the digestive system. And so that's in the starting kit. You can also, there's more steps if you really need additional help. Think about this as the starter kit, but there's so many things that are so fantastic. But this is the starter kit. It's called the Para Kit. It even comes with helping you figure out dosage directions and all of that based on what's going on with you. But so that's kind of the killing phase. And then you have to, as you're killing things off, you have to bind it. So that's what that 4th bottle is in here. This is the biotoxin binder. It's going to bind to toxin to release the parasites by helping to safely remove them from the body, and it's going to support your gut. Binders, there's so many binders out there, charcoals, clays, it's all absorbing something, absorbing toxins into itself so you can excrete them. This binder, and believe me, I've been on this journey for a long time. This binder is life-changing because it's different than all the other ones. It's specific. The technology is very specific. It's different than just an activated charcoal that binds everything. This one has a very high binding capacity, and it doesn't just stay in the area that we place it like the other ones. It crosses the blood-brain barrier. It can go systemically. It has the greatest binding capacity, and it doesn't constipate like a lot of other binders. It also, what I think is really cool is it also doesn't bind to good things. It only binds to the bad. So you don't have to take it away from food and away from your other supplements or anything like that. And just to briefly explain that, it has a certain charge potential. So a lot of toxins are a positive charge. So they have made it to where this supplement has a negative charge. So opposites attract. And so you're getting those things that attract it. And that means whenever you have good bacteria in there or good things in there, and they also have a negative charge, they aren't attracted to it. So that's why it's huge when choosing a binder that you choose one that isn't going to bind everything and flush everything out of the body. That's very non-specific. And that can be fine in a lot of areas and a lot of reasons, but this is what we're needing when we're doing a parasite cleanse for sure. If you've never done a cleanse before and you have numerous health issues, I would recommend there's a step even before this para kit. And it's the functional protocol by CellCore. It helps open the lymphatic system and drainage, helps your liver, and then it goes through detox and parasite cleansing in step 2. Step 3 goes into your immune system and your lymphatic system and draws out viruses and bacteria. And 4 deals with heavy metals, liver, gallbladder, kidney, all of that. It is very comprehensive. It takes about 4 months, but it will definitely get you to where you are eliminating toxins and not recycling them. This para kit is for like maintenance. This is for you're wanting to make sure like you do a quarterly cleanse or something like that, or you're not sure if you were exposed to parasites or it's not, or if you know your body is detoxing appropriately, you have good bowel movements, you know you're going to the bathroom like you need to. But if you have a lot of chronic issues and you struggle with detoxing, and anytime you've tried in the past, you have all kinds of symptoms, I would start with the foundational protocol. It is fantastic. And I know it can be a little bit costly, but when you look at the cost of these things that are inhibiting your life and all the money you spend trying to figure all this out, I would start with the foundational protocol because I think you'll probably waste your time and your money and your energy starting with something cheaper, but not really getting the results that you want. So the para kit is more of a shorter term commitment done in cycles, and it has great results. I just want to add that only practitioners can sell these supplements, and you can't just get them anywhere because we have training that goes along with these, and being able to help coach and direct people on how they should go and what they should be doing. But I have all of these in my e-store, and I'm going to be offering $10 off the para kit and the foundational protocol. So make sure that you look in the show notes to get that code to put that in your cart. So let's say I've had this scenario happen a couple times over the past couple weeks. So that's why I wanted to put this together. So I'm not calling anybody out, but let's say your kid comes home and they have a worm in their poop. What would you do? I know what most people do. They freak out. Oh my gosh, what is that? What do I do? Okay, it's happening a lot. So I'm going to go through how you can use this para kit for yourself. If your child has a worm, you should probably do it too. Because like I said, a lot of these you can pass among each other and everyone else in the house. But when you're doing it with children, there has to be a little bit of change with dosages. So I'm going to go through that. If we start with Para 1, remember, it's like a gut scrubber, biofilm buster, anti-parasitic, antiviral, antimicrobial, antibacterial. It is sticky and gelatinous when mixed with water. So don't mix it with water if you're doing it for a child. You can open the capsule, you can mix it with coconut oil or avocado oil or olive oil, and possibly like honey or maple syrup. But you want to take it upon wakening and right before bed. Um, for adults, that's usually about 12 weeks. For kids, when I talk about dosages, it depends a lot on their weight and their age. But just in general, I would recommend starting one product at a time and giving at least 3 days of tolerating it well before you add anything else. Children under 50 pounds, you would do like a fourth of a capsule once a day and do that for a week, and then a fourth of a capsule twice a day for 1 to 2 months before increasing it up to a half a capsule twice a day if they're comfortable. For children 50 pounds or more, you can start with a half a capsule twice a day and then start a half capsule once a day for a week and then increase to a half a capsule twice a day. So the caveat is they have to be pooping at least 1 to 2 times a day before you can increase anything. You would want to treat them for a minimum of 30 days and then give their body a rest. Take 2 weeks off. Then go again for another 30 days. You don't want it to be extremely stressful. So that's when we talk about timing and dosaging with kids, it is a little bit different. So you can apply that to each stage here. Para 2 is going to hit up those cestodes and nematodes and protozoa and sporozoa and H. pylori. And it has a very strong clove flavoring. So when you open the capsule for kids, I would definitely mix it with some maple syrup or honey on a spoon. It can be combined with Para 1 and taken all together, but make sure you have already had Para 1. You've done that for a week and then you add this one in. You're not adding them both in day one like that. You want to take it upon wakening and right before bed. And for kids, you're going to kind of do that same. We're going to do it for a while, take a break, and then repeat. And for adults, you would do it for 60 days and then take a break for 2 weeks and repeat. The Para 3, I liken it to like an herbal ivermectin. It is going to help with cestodes and nematodes and protozoa and strongyloids, and it's extremely systemic. So for kids, you can put it in juice, smoothie, water, and it can be taken in the morning with breakfast and in the evening with dinner at the same time as all the other products, including the binder. So you would want for children to do the same sort of cycling, and for adults, 3 weeks on, 1 week off. And after, I would say, add Para 3 in after about 4 weeks of taking Para 1 and Para 2 for the duration of the 12 weeks. I think you, again, have to remember you're trying to phase these things in. You don't want to kill everything off at one time. It's going to be extremely stressful. So as you're taking these supplements, you're going to also be taking the biotoxin binder. For kids, you can open up biotoxin binder and they can take it that way, or they can do a Quicksilver is the brand Ultra Binder. It does have to be taken away from food. You can just put a teaspoon twice a day in water, 30 minutes before you eat or 2 hours afterwards, as long as there's no constipation. And then for kids, I also recommend putting a Pro B+1 probiotic in. It's a powder you can put in the juice with your Para 3 that helps rebuild some of those good bacteria that can help them fight it off. So if you're considering a parasite cleanse, it's really important to have a plan. And I said you can do this at home safely, but if you have a lot of really intense health issues, it really is important to do this under the guidance of a healthcare practitioner. But I'm just giving you the general outline of how you might implement it. The first phase of any sort of cleanse is kind of that preparation phase, even just planning. When am I going to do this? Can I decrease my schedule during that time if I'm feeling bad? Can I support my body's detox pathways? And then you have that active cleansing phase. So introduce Para 1 and Para 2, target and eliminate those parasites. And then you want to continue supporting detox and gut health to prevent reinfestation afterwards. So it's really important to say that you have to pay attention with these protocols to what you're eating. Making certain dietary and lifestyle changes are going to significantly enhance the effectiveness of these protocols. And if you're not eating well, you're going to very much deter their effectiveness. So thinking about how can I eliminate sugar and processed foods during this? Parasites thrive on sugar and processed foods. So reducing or eliminating them can help starve the parasites and reduce their proliferation. How can I increase my fiber intake? That's going to help cleanse the digestive system and aid in the removal of parasites. So I sometimes recommend Fiber Absorb X by Hummingbird if you're really struggling getting in those high fiber foods like fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds. You can also add that in. I would also add in some of those anti-parasitic foods that we talked about at the beginning to help support that cleansing process, as well as adding in some probiotics. So you can add in probiotics themselves or probiotic-rich foods like yogurt or kefir or sauerkraut or kimchi or kombucha. And I would just have one caveat to that is if you are sure you do not have SIBO or small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, because sometimes that can cause things to feel a little bit worse. During your cleanse, I would also avoid raw or undercooked food, just so you know you're not re-exposing yourself during that. And then as far as other lifestyle things, you have to think about your stress because chronic stress is going to weaken your immune system, making you more susceptible to more infections as you're going through this. So there are so many good things that you can do, but before you jump into the parasite cleanse, like I said, you have to prepare yourself and make a plan. You also have to prepare yourself that you might have some not wanted symptoms they're called die-off symptoms. It's when the parasites are dying off that you have this response. So in general, let's say you're cleansing for about 90 days. Those that have a lot going on and probably need to be a lot longer if your health is really struggling. But when we use an eradication agent like CellCore's Para 1, 2, 3, or even 4, when you use these for the first time, it is introducing the body to an eradication agent where the parasites die. And when the parasites die, they release inflammatory toxins that alert the body to expel the toxins as fast as possible because we don't want these floating around in our body. Parasites can release neurotoxins, heavy metals, viruses, and other toxins which enter into the interstitial fluid that surrounds the cell tissue. And then these toxins travel to the lymphatic system, which filters the body's waste. Next, they need to head to the spleen, lymph nodes, or the liver to be further filtered and then sent to other drainage pathways like the bladder, the colon, the kidneys, or even the breath and the skin. The trouble is, especially if an individual is chronically ill, some of these organs can be blocked. This means toxins recirculate, you recycle them, like I said, and that's what typically causes die off symptoms. Die off is sometimes necessary to endure because the very thing that's causing the drainage trouble, often the parasites themselves, have to die off for that good drainage to happen. Because they're going to inhabit the liver and the bile ducts and a lot of other elimination organs. So some symptoms of die off are aches and pains, anxiety and depression, cravings, fatigue, flu-like symptoms, headaches, increased GI upset, insomnia, phlegm or stuffy nose, and skin problems. And you're asking me, Shelly, why would I do such a thing? Those are the very symptoms I'm trying to avoid. I already feel bad. Well, it is kind of one of those things that you very well may have to go through to get better. I think of it like labor pains. You know, there is something good at the end, so you can endure it, right? But you can also do some things to help get through it by being prepared, like doing an Epsom salt bath every night to help pull the toxins from the skin, like exercising moderately, not intense, but moderately, like including high protein and collagen foods, or getting chiropractic care, or getting in the sun, or doing light therapy, or if your skin is breaking out, applying apple cider vinegar to your face. Or if you're craving something, drink a cup of peppermint tea to help fight the sugar cravings. Or add healthy fats to your diet, like avocados, and get extra rest. Or go to the infrared sauna and make sure you're being hydrated. If you have headaches, you could apply peppermint or frankincense oil to your temples. If you have nausea, you can drink ginger tea. You could, if you have an upset stomach, use ginger or fennel, peppermint, rosemary, lemon, essential oils, diluted and blended, and put them on your stomach. If you're having trouble sleeping, you could apply a castor oil pack to your liver before bed, followed by a warm Epsom salt bath, or diffuse cedarwood or lavender essential oils in your room to promote sleep. You can watch your stress levels, you can eliminate sugar, and you can make sure that you have support. I mean, emotional support, because this is going to impact your neurotransmitters in a lot of ways. So seeking emotional support, decreasing the busyness of your schedule during that time can set you up for success. And then people ask me, how frequent should I be doing a method of parasite cleansing? And I think it can vary based on needs, lifestyle, health conditions, all of that. I would suggest if you're under a lot of exposure a lot, you could do it quarterly, but at least once to twice a year. And that just helps you prevent these parasitic infections. You could do symptom-driven cleanses. If you have digestive issues or unexplained fatigue or skin problems, it might be necessary to do it then. Definitely after traveling, especially out of country. Or just to places that you're going to be exposed to things you're not used to. So those are some suggestions of frequencies that I typically give people. And like I said, the lifestyle issues are just the biggest part of this to make yourself successful, decreasing your stress, setting yourself up for success. So hopefully you gained some good insight on where to start with these parasite cleanses. Like I said, I'm going to offer $10 off your CellCore Para Kit for the next 2 days and your foundational protocol if you feel like you need to start there. In my e-store. So I'm really excited if you guys want to join in with me and do this parasite cleanse this month. Right before school starts, get things started, do it with your family, and hopefully you have a wonderful rest of your summer. I just want to pray over you guys today before we get off. Dear Lord, we just thank you so much for everyone listening today. We thank you that we live in this beautiful world, Lord, and that we have so many opportunities to learn and to seek you and to see you more. God, I just pray that for the person that's been searching for a way to help their health and they have not thought about this, or maybe this is the stone left uncovered, God, that you would just reveal that to them. I pray the right ears will hear this. I pray for wisdom moving forward, Lord, and I just pray that people will continue to hear these words and just know that the whole reason that we're improving our health isn't for selfish purposes, but to bring you glory and to be able to fulfill the purposes and the call that you have for us here on this earth. We love you. We praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you for being with us today, and thank you for listening to Be Whole, Be Well, and Be Wise. Make sure you join me on Instagram at shellytyler.wellness and join my private Facebook group, Functional Wellness for Christian Women, by clicking my link in the bio if you haven't already. Before we go, show some love for your new favorite podcast by leaving me a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Amazon, and then subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. Bye.